Welcome to the USA Dog Behavior Podcast. I'm Scott Schaefer, a certified dog behavior consultant and behaviorist specializing in all types of canine behavior issues. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the hidden ways you might be punishing your dog without even knowing it. We all think we know what punishment looks like when it comes to dogs. Ask most people and they'll say something like, oh yeah, that's stuff like hitting, spanking, shot collars, jerking the leash, or even prong collars. And yes, those are all in fact forms of punishment, but they're not the whole story. There's a piece of the story here that's very important that's missing. What if I told you that to your dog, yelling might feel just as punishing as any of those physical tools? Let's break it down a moment. In behavioral science, punishment simply means doing something that reduces the likelihood of a behavior happening again. That's it. It doesn't have to be physical, dramatic, or even intentional on your part. If your dog barks at the window and you shout, "Hey, stop that," which we all have done, me too, I'm guilty, and your dog lowers their head or walks away, your yelling probably acted as a punishment, at least in that moment. Let me give you an example of punishment in action. Your dog doesn't quickly go to you when you ask them to come. So you yell at them for not meeting your expectations. From your dog's point of view, you're just being loud and scary. That experience might make them actually avoid you, just your yelling. You scared them. You can imagine the training problem that starts in this common example of what not to do. In other words, you're calling them to come to you, and then you yell at them for not doing it fast enough. So what do they think? Well, I'm not supposed to come to them, which is exactly what we don't want to happen. So we start all kinds of unintended training problems when we yell and do these kind of punishing things without really thinking about it. Now, here's the twist. Dogs don't see punishment the same way that humans do. We might think we're just being firm, we're setting boundaries or correcting. But from your dog's perspective, you're suddenly loud and unpredictable. And that can be confusing, frightening, or scary to your dog. And when dogs get confused or scared, they often just shut down, or they even act out more. And just like with humans, scared dogs are not very effective learners. Boy, can I say that again? And just like with humans, scared dogs are not very effective learners. Let me give you an example again. A dog gets on the couch, and the owner claps loudly and scolds them verbally for being up there, because in their household, they don't want the dogs on the couch, which is fine. You own the house. You get to set the furniture rules. The dog jumps down after this yelling and clapping, but then avoids the living room and the owner themselves for hours, not because they learned a lesson, but because they felt unsafe and scared. They didn't really connect this with being on the sofa. They connected it with a scary owner. Not really at all what the dog's owner was after, of course. I've seen many cases where well-meaning dog owners use harsh tones, loud voices, or sudden movements, thinking it's just communication. But to their dogs, it's punishment. You have to get in the dog's head. It's not how we're thinking about it. It's what the dog thinks. It's important to ask yourself, is my dog learning what to do? Or are they simply trying to avoid my punishment? Think about that. Are they just avoiding my punishment, or were they actually learning something? Here's the good news. You can raise a well-behaved dog without needing punishment at all. Doesn't that sound crazy? That goes against so much of what we've heard in the media and maybe through some dog trainers. But it's just like parents. Good human parents can raise great kids without resorting to beating and punishing them. Dogs learn better when we focus on rewarding the behaviors we like rather than punishing the ones we don't. So if you think about it, when we use punishment with dogs, we have to punish an infinite number of I don't want that behaviors. When we use rewards for desired behaviors, we focus on the one thing we want from the dog, making it much easier for the dog to understand. Do this and you get rewarded. If we tell them, no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, that goes on for infinity. That's infinite. But the one thing we do want them to do is very easily understood, or can be very easily understood by the dog, and we reward that. Let me give you an example again. Your dog sits calmly instead of jumping up when you come home. Because we know how many dogs, especially younger dogs, jump up on you. It's real annoying. They're just happy to have you get home. But we don't like that. But in this instance, your dog is not doing that when you get home. So you greet them with affection and maybe even a treat. And what are they learning? Oh, sitting calmly gets me what I want, which is the owner's attention. Doing this is what the owner wants. If you're curious about more effective and kind ways to work with your dog, do yourself a favor and check out my free blog posts, videos, and podcast episodes at usadogbehavior.com. I have a lot of material on there. It's free, and it goes into much more detail about these concepts. I'm just brushed over the top here today. We really didn't delve into this much at all. But I want to introduce you to this concept of focusing on rewarding single behaviors and not punishing a dog verbally, which gets really confusing to them. In all this information on my website, I talk a lot about how dogs learn, how to handle common behavior problems, and how to build a better relationship with your dog without fear-based methods. So the next time your dog does something that's frustrating to you, take a breath. Ask yourself, is what I'm about to do helping them learn, or am I just scaring them into silence and confusing them? Because there's a big difference between those two. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoy quick insights into dog behavior, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more bite-sized episodes and leave a review if you find these episodes helpful. You can find us, as I mentioned earlier, at usadogbehavior.com, or you can follow us on Facebook by searching for USA Dog Behavior. See you next time. Now go hug your dog.